of Staten Island Soccer Report, coming to you live tonight from the studios of CTV. I think we have some technical difficulties to start the show. I know we didn't hear the famous Jojo Quinalia's theme song to start the show, but anyhow, we're still here. We're live, and we might as well just run with it. I love the background tonight, Frank. Look, a little different there.
Yeah, exactly.
As always, Frank Tricomi, head coach, Great Hills Sting.
Yes.
Assistant coach of the Great Hills Starlets also, Frank.
Yes.
You got a lot on your plate.
And
How you
coach
doing?
of the great team as well.
And the great team.
Great team.
Oh, the gray.
The gray.
Oh, like the color gray. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
so
Okay. Yeah, that's three.
Yeah, it's interesting, Glad to be here tonight.
So how's it going? Let's just, I guess we'll stick right with it. Start with the great team, I guess, is the youngest.
Yeah.
And we'll work our way up.
Okay.
All right, let's get an update on Great Hills.
Yeah, the gray. Basically, what's going on is the gray team. We've practiced scrimmaged a couple of times. I definitely feel like the kids definitely got it more the second time, obviously. Yeah. And we were interrupted by the federal government with the delay at Miller Field. So, unfortunately, those kids didn't get to play for 2 weeks because we started a few weeks into September. We started a few weeks after the season started. And now with the federal government shutdown, combined with the Columbus Day holiday, we've been on a 2-week hiatus and big question mark for this weekend. So we'll see what happens.
I don't know. I don't even know for sure, but I did hear somewhere. I saw it online somewhere that the government, they're back working.
Oh, they are.
That's,
okay.
I don't know for sure 100%, but I think that's what I saw today.
I haven't checked in a couple of hours. Been a little busy, but I did hear. What I do know is that the credit rating was going to get downrated. I think by tomorrow. Yeah. So I think that caused the panic and
it's just
the hysteria.
A no-win situation, but we're not here for politics. We're gonna stick to the sport. And unfortunately, one last thing about that. No one wins. Nobody's won. Everyone's losing here.
Yeah.
So.
And things that you wouldn't think that were affected by it are.
Right. Like parks and.
Who would have ever thought?
And rec games. Games that just being just for fun.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Well, unfortunately, the kids lose out.
Yeah.
But going forward, Great Kill Sting. We still looking for our first win this weekend.
Okay.
Right now we're sitting at.
Let's get back to the gray team now. They just it's a clinic, right?
Yeah, they basically have a red team, a blue team, navy, I think it's called.
All right.
Red, navy, and gray. Right. You work within your group. There's 3 small fields at the back end of Miller Field. Okay. And you work basically within your group. And I believe in the next couple of weeks we're going to be scrimmaging the other teams. Oh. Like gray versus red or whatever. And so using the whole field. Right now we're kind of using half the field.
And now what are we talking? 4-year-olds? 5-year-olds?
I believe it's somewhere between 4 and 6. I know looking at the roster, my son is, I believe, the youngest one there on the gray team.
And that's 4, right?
Yeah, he's going to be 4 in a couple of weeks. So,
it's all fun.
That's why I don't, I take it a little bit with a grain of salt right now with him because he is playing against kids that are a year or 2 older and have been with the clinic maybe for a season or 2. So
a little more experience, but you know what? That can't hurt playing with kids that are at different levels. So.
Especially at this age because I know my middle guy, he excelled because he took, I'll say a little bit of a beating at first playing with older kids. And then when he started playing, take for example, let's say next year when he starts playing with kids more his age, he'll have already had a year under his belt.
And I always like to say it'll toughen them up.
Yeah.
So anyway, Frank, before we go any further, I think it's worth mentioning we're wearing pink. I know you got the wristband going. I got the T-shirt going. Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we want to show our support.
Yeah.
As always, we've done this the last few years with the Richmond Town Rush.
Yeah.
We've had the whole team wear pink, coaching staff, players. We've gone to CSI. We've had the breast cancer awareness game.
It's a great cause. Millions of people have being treated for it now that weren't treated years ago. So, early detection is obviously very key. Speaking about breast cancer awareness, I guess it is worth noting, since it is a Staten Island program, that there will be the breast cancer awareness walk. I believe it starts 8 o'clock Sunday morning. I believe it's 8 o'clock.
This coming Sunday, October
20th. At Clove Lake Park here in Staten Island.
Right.
So.
All right. Like, we just mentioned, we're showing our support and we're doing our part.
Yeah.
Now, we're back to your Great Kills team number.
Yeah, team number 2, I guess we
two.
could call it. The Great Kills thing.
Okay.
We're sitting at 0-4, but we've been playing better lately. For example, a team that we lost in week 1, we lost 4-1.
Right.
The last time we played, we lost 1-0.
Okay.
So defensively.
So you closed the gap a little bit.
Yeah,
so
I feel like we've definitely closed the gap.
Right.
The boys are kind of learning their positions a little bit better, which is helping. And you're not leaving an open spot all the way on the right side of the field.
Listen, when you're not winning games, what you can, and we've spoken about this over the years, you want to make some kind of progress, right?
Yeah.
The result really doesn't matter at this
Yeah.
point. It's making progress. You know that. So,
Yeah.
and it looks like you have.
Yeah.
Judging by the standings, because I have been looking. I'm always going to watch to see how my ex-coaches have been doing in the league. Now, I kind of feel like Bill Parcells a little bit. He's got all these assistants everywhere.
Yeah.
So
it's
now that became head coaches, and I think going back to Parcells for a second, he did say at his Hall of Fame speech that to all his guys out there, he says, "Let's get another one. Let's get one more. Let's win another one." So yeah, I kind of feel like I gotta keep an eye on. The main thing is just see some progress. You have to see progress, and that's
you're in it for the long haul.
Right.
If you could win now, great.
Right.
But if you could, win, do okay now and progress, and again, some of these kids are a little bit older than us right now. That's going to take a little bit of an adjustment.
Right.
The field's a lot bigger than it was. A
Right.
little bit of an adjustment. And just little things here and there. But you know what? I feel like we're getting there.
It's almost like they was shell-shocked going into the season.
Yeah,
they didn't know.
This, I think, is the biggest, noticing it with the rush, I think this is the biggest transition from the smallest field there is to the next size field.
Right.
I think because all the kids are accustomed to is playing on a field maybe a little bit bigger than the studio.
Right. Yeah,
And if you got 1 or 2 fast kids that could dribble the ball fairly well, you could score 3, 4, 5 goals a game on that field. Whereas this field, the field is bigger. A lot of the kids don't have the energy to run from one side to the other, and there's more of a chance of them being caught.
A lot more real estate to cover.
Yeah.
But you know what? Now you're teaching positioning and stuff like that. So.
And ironically enough, speaking about this, one of my assistants said the same thing that I said to you a few years ago when we switched from these fields, and they said to me, "Oh, look at how much bigger the nets are." And I remember telling you that, and I said, just because the nets are bigger doesn't mean that we're going to score more.
Exactly.
And sure enough, the same thing happened with me that happened with us those many years ago. So
the nets could be gigantic if they can't get. They're not going to be able to. It doesn't guarantee you that you're going to score goals. We thought we were going to score a lot of goals, right?
It's just, like you said, it's just more room to cover.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
And there's smaller kids, and how fast can you get down the field?
Yeah, coming into going back to the Richmond Town Rush, going into the U8 season, or U7 actually is when you go to the bigger fields, right?
Yeah.
We thought we were going to score a tremendous amount of goals.
Nets, yeah.
And I mean, we've had our fair share, but it's not easy.
I think if you look at the disparity of goals between, let's say, the U6 season to the U7 and U8, I think you'll notice that we definitely scored a lot.
And I got all the numbers here, Frank. I never leave home without it. I got all the stats right here. That's all the proof in the pudding. One team is worth mentioning. Every time we went to Petrides, had a hard time scoring goals. We were lucky if we had one or two
Yeah.
to start off with. Then as the season's gone on, we've gotten better.
Yeah.
But the first season, we were lucky to get a goal.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
all right. So this thing, next game is this weekend.
It's Sunday. We were at, I believe it was 11 o'clock at Miller Field,
Right.
which has since been changed to 2 o'clock at Patrides.
Thanks for the government.
Thank you, federal government and President Obama.
Crazy.
But,
All right.
I'm actually hoping, keeping my
what it
fingers
is.
crossed that somehow maybe if the field is open, maybe they're going to give us original time back. I'm not sure how that works with referees, and that's why I don't think it's going to happen, because then you'd have to reassign all referees and things. So.
Well, I think they rescheduled, and we're going to play a little bit of music because we didn't get it in the opening, but I will play a little bit of a Cosmos theme song. I don't know if the viewers can hear it, but it's coming right off the iPhone. So, yeah, I think they, when they reschedule, they go right across the board, right? Everything that's...
Well, no, like what would happen, take for example, Miller Field is open this weekend.
Right.
Would they move the games back, or would they just keep them?
My guess would be that they're just going to keep it
They're
as
just
is.
going to keep them.
Because then you're getting into, let me just pause that there, getting into too much going back and forth.
Yeah, that's
stuff.
why.
We're already at Wednesday now.
And
Thursday, tomorrow, we're into Thursday pretty much. You can't be scrambling with that again.
And unfortunately for me, both my Saturday games and Sunday games were mostly all at Miller Field. So now basically everything, my whole schedule got torn up for the weekend.
Hopefully by next weekend. After this weekend goes by, we'll be back to normal with that.
I'm hoping.
But you know what? They're really, being at Miller Field, refereeing, now that I'm not coaching any longer, we'll get into that in a few, but I've been at Miller Field, and the field hasn't been filled with games like it normally is because they're all over the place now.
I think that's helping the problem with the government, because if there were more games scheduled, they may have had to scrap and just put those games on hold, or
play some street ball, shut down Highland Boulevard.
I think that really played into the league's hands now. Obviously getting into places like Mount Loretto, and I mean even St. Rita's, they're only hosting one game at a time, but still taking, like over Saturday and Sunday period, it's taking 12 games away from Miller Field, which is good.
If it's not Sandy, it's the government. We got, we can't win here. The kids lose out, really. Basically.
Yeah, unfortunately. Because now, let's just say...
I just want to make note that we also have Brian LaPure behind the glass there, Frank. We got the show started off, without the music and all that, so I wasn't able to give him his props. Brian is our director, always had, from day one, and hopefully will continue on. He does a great job, not only with this show, but with a ton of shows at CTV.
Yeah, if you see it on CTV.
He's like the master director, like the master. Really, you can't get this guy. You could see his name in probably every credit that's filmed in this studio.
Watch CTV for one day.
Yeah.
Let's say like you go.
Pick any day.
Pick any day.
Whatever
and
day. Yeah.
Watch 8 hours worth of programming.
Yeah, and you'll see Brian at least how many times?
What, like 6, 7
Easy,
maybe?
easy.
We'll give him, we'll say maybe he can't make 1 or 2 shows because he's working. But
well, we'll have to put him on. We'll put him on a shift that the studio's closed, so he'll have to be here. That's all. We'll make him work when the studio's closed, like Sundays the studio's closed.
Yeah.
Brian, you work all day Sunday, 24 hours, so you could be here. Nah, he's great with all. Thank you, Brian, for all your work. Getting back to, hopefully by this weekend we'll.
Unfortunately, what happens is even when they do reschedule the game, because people have other commitments, even though, the league's been great about rescheduling, and the clubs have been great, everybody's working together, unfortunately, some kids may lose the game because of other commitments, and other activities, God knows these kids are busy these days, much busier than they were 10, 20 years ago.
They're in just about 3 or 4 different things, right?
On top of the activities, just the schools and things just have so much
that
more.
That comes first. Schoolwork comes first.
Well, schoolwork, parties,
Well, we're getting into November almost, so the holidays will be here real soon.
Yeah, so
This year will be gone. All right, Frank. What else is going on with this thing? You guys are ready to roll this weekend?
Nothing much. We're ready to roll.
How many practices this week? 3 at least.
Actually, I was supposed to do 3 last weekend for Columbus Day weekend. I was gonna do my usual Friday, Saturday, and I was gonna add one for Sunday, being that we didn't have a game.
Right.
But I looked at the forecast and it looked like rain all 3 days. So I kind of just gave the team the weekend off.
Right.
Being that we couldn't use Miller Field to practice, I just said, you know what, guys, enjoy the weekend, sleep late, catch up on your schoolwork, whatever you're missing, your other activities, take a break, and, we'll resume. So I just sent out word that we will be practicing twice this week, our usual Friday and Saturday, with the game Sunday.
That's not bad. That's good.
So.
If you get good turnouts, that's good. 3 days in a row. This way, whatever you're teaching and practicing, it stays fresh. I always like that. I don't really like to go hard the day before a game, but if you got to teach them, and it'll stay fresh the next day.
You know what it is too now at this point. Speaking about school and stuff. Now that the boys got a year or two, they're a year or two older than when we first started. Now a lot of schools they put CCD on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So if you have boys that play on Sunday, you like to practice on Saturday because let's face it, more people could probably make a Saturday morning practice than a weeknight at 5 if people are working and other things going on or whatever. So now what's happening is I'm losing kids for Saturday morning because it's CCD. Right. So now sometimes I get, some Friday night, some Saturday morning, and whoever gets both, great.
Right.
Whoever gets one, that's good too,
That's all you can ask for is one, I guess.
Yeah.
You hope for 2, you get 1, you're happy, you go on.
So,
the biggest news of the day, the Great Kills Starlets.
Oh, the Starlets, okay.
What's going on with them? I mean, I guess it's worth mentioning I was I was helping out with that team, and I decided to just step down to just pursue my daughter's soccer career, so to speak,
Okay.
So just wanted to get away from the coaching and stuff and other stuff going on, and just felt that it was just time to just focus on her. And it's kind of hard to coach and do it, the practices and with the team when I'm trying to get her at a certain level and stuff. So I decided to pack it in, and I know you're still with the Starlets.
Yeah.
With Coach Sal, I'm sure things are going good over there.
Well, let me just say, before we even get into the Starlets, it was a good run with you, John. I don't know how it could have been that much better, if at all. Maybe take away maybe 3 or 4 of those losses that make it perfect. But
and they only came at the end anyway. Those,
but
all said and done,
in the end, you're talking about 4+ years of great memories for me, you, and
kids,
all those kids, and
well, since we're on that subject, Frank, and I'm sure a lot of people don't know, especially in the beginning, like all the stuff that you did behind the scenes, and whatever it may have been, stuff on the internet, and schedule making, stuff like that, all the stuff behind the scenes, so you've been a big help also, and a huge help for that team just starting it off, because there was no way I was doing it on my own. So you jumped in there with me, basically really not knowing, and it didn't matter, knowing or not, you came along and you just followed the lead, I guess, be the best way to put it. And it turned out to listen, we won. I think we got lucky with maybe like lightning in a bottle type of thing. The team was good. We directed them a little bit, and we helped them out a little, but the players were good. They were good players. But that being said, great memories. The rush again. I guess the rush is gonna live forever, because it's always gonna be on my, I'm always gonna wear the shirt, especially in October and stuff like that. But it's been great. It was a great time. Now it's just, I got to focus on Gabriella and what she wants to do.
You're right. If you do have a kid that you do have aspirations, and they have aspirations of making it to any sort of higher level, it is hard to focus on the team and your kid at the same time. Now, it didn't really sink in until you said it a few minutes ago. Trying to, make your kid better, but saying, okay, now I got to practice with 15 other kids, instead of saying, okay, because you got to remember, it's like you said too, it's all the behind the scenes things, all the things that you say, okay, I'm going to get there early to practice. I got to get there early to get maybe a good spot at the field. And it's all those things that add up. And if you add up, a lot of times we spend the time, let's say we'd practice for an hour. We'd probably be there for an extra hour on top of that, figuring you get there maybe a half an hour early to get a good spot, to get a good field. You told people you were going to be someplace, and now all of a sudden, if you stroll up 5 minutes before the spot's taken, now you got to go get everybody from one area, take them to another area. We'd have to split up. Okay, the team's over here. And then you factor in the extra 20 minutes that you're there after the practice, just talking and just telling people, okay, we're going to play here. Make sure you're on time.
You're always
Parents got questions and things like that. It was never like you started the car 2 minutes after. And believe me, my wife got in the car with the kids, and we'd have to go someplace. She'd be honking. She'd be ringing that horn. And,
you never ran out. You never ran off the field. That's
unless you really had to, So it did take, and all those things kind of take away a little bit from your own.
It's also worth noting that I'm not coaching, and that's the biggest key of trying to get her to where she wants to go with this, because. Me coaching her, it's never going to work out.
Well,
it's just not going to work.
For a couple of reasons. One, it's always harder for your own kid. For anyone out there that's tried to study with their kid, whether they work in a school, they're a teacher, a parent, an aide, or whatever they are, it's always hardest with your own kid.
Right.
Number one. And number two, if you're not coaching, I know a lot of days before a game now, what I'm doing Sunday morning before a game is I'm filling in my sheet, who's playing where. And, at the game, I'm thinking of, okay, this person's not here. It's 5 minutes before the game. Now we got to make a little switch here. And the person that I had penciled in to play goalie is late, or whatever else. And those little things, like Sunday morning, you could be kicking the ball in the yard with your kid rather than coming up with a strategy for the game. And those are two ways that I think it kind of, takes away from your own.
I got to tell you, it still bothers me, and it's killing me not to be coaching. It really is. You know what I think what's saving me right now? What's saving me right now is refereeing games, I think, is saving me. And I think and I'm taking everything that's getting thrown at me right now. And I think that's like a substitute right now for...
It's got to be difficult. It's got to be.
The hardest thing to do was to tell Sal that I wasn't going to be able to coach anymore. And again, like I said, she's still going to be playing, my daughter, but I'm not going to I have nothing to do with the team. So I just had to just shut it down altogether as far as coaching, just like that, on a dime. And, like I said, but the refereeing part is probably helping me out a lot.
Yeah.
I'm still in the game and stuff, I'm not coaching, but I'm at a lot of games now, a lot more than I would be if I was coaching. I'm at the field almost every day. So that being said, I feel bad, and I really do. And I know, half the team came with us and stuff.
Yeah.
I just had to make a decision, and,
It just, sometimes life doesn't work out the way you planned, I would have never saw myself sitting here last year. Someone saying, "Oh, you'll be coaching for Greg Kills next year." You never say never.
Right.
Exactly. You never say never to anything.
Who knows where I'll land next, but we'll see. Someone made a comment last night. I was at the field. You'll be coaching again. Don't worry.
Well, the thing is, if you love it, and I'm speaking not just from a soccer standpoint. But I could see myself doing this, Obviously, like I tell people, I could see myself doing this for a long time. Maybe taking a little bit of a break somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, like once my kids, let's say, age out, maybe taking some time to myself finally to cool off, just to kind of miss it again, and just because.
There's plenty of guys out there.
You know,
coaching
and
now.
I look at all these older, guys and
A la
women,
Sal, a la Vic.
and these guys like that they come back like once their kids go in their 20s, and they kind of like their kids are grown and they have a lot more time on their hands or whatever.
Yeah, that's great.
And they come back, and I could definitely see, and that's where maybe I look forward to reuniting with you again.
Yeah.
Down the road, you never
know.
You never know, but
I'll never say I'll never coach again.
But
for now, it's,
well, for now you want to focus on your own kid. Your own kids are growing up.
She's gonna be playing. I have real good confidence on the coach, her new coach now. So I'm just gonna let her go with him and with the team and see how far that goes. I got the show. We'll be talking soccer with the show, refereeing. So I'm still around the game as far as that goes.
Yeah.
And then I got my little one now that's starting to kick it to me that she wants to get involved. So where's my time? You know what I mean? I'm gonna let Gabriella go with her team. She's fine. I got to give my time to the little one also. She wants me to coach her team, which is, what is it going to be, U7 now? She'll be a U7.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes for the spring. But other than that, what's the anything? We'll close on our sub,
the closing on that, back to the Starlets just for a minute, just to wrap up where we're at. I believe we're sitting right now at 0-3-2, with the last game being a tie. The Comets, the St. Joseph Hill Academy Comets, scored a late goal within the last 10 minutes of the game, and the goalkeeper Madison was pulled in favor of another player, and I believe that she happened to score the game-tying goal within the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game. So the girls were happy. Yeah. We ended with a tie, thankfully, and looking to move forward. It is worth noting that the schedule, appears. You never say never, because with kids, kids move divisions, kids move up, kids get better, kids move down. But it appears like the Starlet schedule was top-heavy, where we played for lack of a better word, the class of the division first. And it looks like we're playing maybe some of the weaker teams in the back.
You still don't know what Blessed Sacrament's got.
Based on last year's standings and the year before.
Right.
We don't know who's where.
All right. Well,
so hopefully maybe we'll straighten out the record. Maybe we could get a couple of W's here. But
who's in that? Who else is left in that division?
It's the Blessed Sacrament Crickets. It's the Our Lady Queen of Peace Cardinals, and there may be one other team.
There's probably another team in there somewhere. There has to be another team in there somewhere. Because you played 5, you got 3 to go. So you're playing the Cardinals,
Blessed Sacrament,
and there's one more we're missing. We're missing
and
one
we've
more.
already we actually had the misfortune, I think, if you want to call it that, of playing St. Charles and Our Lady Star of the Sea twice, which I believe that they were the two top teams last year.
Somebody don't like me.
So,
those are the top 2 teams, and I called it from the start of the season right.
So we got 4 games against the top 2 teams in the division. But not to take anything away from anybody else, because you don't know what they got.
You can't take away from it. I'll tell you you can, because those are the 2 teams right there to be reckoned with. Our team, I'll say, the team that you're on now, you didn't know what you were going to get, because it was a bunch of players just put together first season. They never played together, right? So to be real, you didn't know what you were going to get out of this year. You need at least a year of the kids playing together to get some results, maybe. So looking at the standings, St. Charles and Star of the Sea were the 2 teams to beat, really. And sure enough, they're the top 2 teams in the division right now. So there you go. They were the two teams.
So
because we know them, we've played them for years. We've known these teams, and I'm gonna look up the standings right now.
Is it Notre Dame, the other team?
I don't know. I'll find out right now. The other team.
not sure.
Oh, it's the new Patrides team.
Oh, okay.
And that again.
How could I forget them? Out of all?
That's not the ultimate. It's not the powerhouse Patrides.
Well,
team.
just
And again, why they would make this team like this, not mix up some players to make this team a little bit better than what they were. Last season, they lost every game, probably by 6-0 scores and stuff like that, 5-6-0, and they didn't beef up the roster. But again, they're 0-4, and I don't see them winning any games. I actually reffed one of their games this season, and they can't even get the ball past midfield. It's just not fair. But again, who am I? I'm just a ref. So those are the teams. Yeah, you got to play the Cardinals. You got to play Blessed Sacrament and Patrides left. In my mind, you probably should go 3-0. I'll put the pressure on you right now.
well,
You should go 3-0 and have a 500 season. You really should. If the cards are played right, that's
Well, the thing is, the Crickets, from what I understand, have some players from a dismantled Blessed Sacrament team.
Right.
So who knows what you're walking into. Blessed Sacrament's so big that they're expanding and contracting all the time based on the registration.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's basically, they're just like the Great Hills team. There were two teams put together. So it's basically the same situation.
Yeah, so we don't know, but which players did they get?
Yeah, right.
Did they get
Well,
some better players, or did they get some weaker players?
Yeah, right.
If they took all the Mermaids' better players, then that's not.
Well, judging by the standings right now, they don't look good. I mean, I'm going by the standings right now. They're.
I try not to look at the standings, and when I look at it, I print
I take that
I
back.
print it out and I turn it upside down this way. The Starlets are on top.
Well, I take that back. They're actually. I don't know if they put in all their scores for the season, but they're right now just 1-1.
A lot of clubs don't put in their scores.
I can't see why they're not putting in their scores. They only have 3 games played here.
People just don't.
But the winning coach should put it in, I guess, right?
I don't know. I haven't won any games this season between both teams.
Yeah.
So I haven't had
Well,
the
you know
pleasure.
what? I'll take it back. That's all they've played was 3 games because their next game is this Saturday. So there you go. They
could have had maybe their week off.
They might have had a week or
somewhere.
2 off. Gabriella's club has got 1 game in the month of October. So I mean, the schedule making, I guess, this season is a little off.
Yeah.
So. All right. So you should go 3-0. By the time we have a next show here, you should be 3-3-2. That makes 8 games, right? And we'll go from there. Hopefully, you'll come back with a good report and some players scoring some goals. Because you got some good players on that team.
Yeah. It's just a matter of, everything kind of.
You really got some good players on there that came with us from, from the Rush. So it's just a matter of a new system, maybe. I think it's a new system, just getting used to all the players and playing together.
Well, yeah, that's,
So what do we got going on next? You know what? Let's just go on. Let's go through Division 1 on the U10 girls while we're stuck on that age bracket. And I'm going to look them up right now. And again, Frank, I think we did them a favor. Well, not we, but by the Richmond Town Rush not being around any longer. Patrides, who's going to play? Who's going to beat them now?
I'd say the only competition.
Patrides Panthers White. They're undefeated.
Offhand is the Blue Knights, the Our Lady Good Counsel. They're the only team I think that.
Well, you think that, but guess what, Frank?
But they haven't beaten Patrides from what we've seen, so.
Well, I believe they played a game this season, and I'm going to look it up right now, and I think they did. They played the first game of the season, and Patrides beat them.
So.
I mean, a 2-1 game looks like it was a good game.
Good game, but they still haven't proven that they could beat them.
Exactly.
So.
Again, we made it easy for them by not being around any longer. There's no one that's going to beat that team. They're like a machine, that team. And you got to have the players to understand, how to mark their players and keep an eye and just have you got to have a great team from top to bottom to really go against Petrides. So it looks like they're going to win their second in a row, right? They won it last season. Right, they were undefeated last season. I don't think they gave up 2 goals, I think, all year. That's the only difference so far this season. They've given up, let's just go back and make sure I got this right. They've given up 4 already in 3 games that they played. That's already double from last year. I don't know what's going on with that, but again, it's just they're going for their second, I think 3, which is the Richmond Town Rush is the record, 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to get it unless somebody stops them somehow, some way. All right, I guess that's a wrap pretty much on the Staten Island side of soccer, right?
Yeah.
On youth soccer, at least.
Yeah.
We got some professional. I just want to give out a couple shout-outs. I know I've seen some people on the field yesterday that are probably watching tonight. Roy is one of them. I've seen him. I also did see Bill Smith, president of Staten Island Soccer League. He was there. I was doing a game last night, the travel game with the United, and he was on the field. There was a bunch of guys on the field yesterday. Also, some high school games were going on, too. Tottenville was there. I forgot who they were playing against. They were right after our game.
Oh, and they play at Al How?
Yeah, high school games are there, where they got the lights, and they don't start their games there until probably about 7:30.
Oh, I thought they played on their own field.
There might be a road game for them, like maybe like the other team doesn't have
a field.
With lights and stuff, so they could substitute and go right to Al How and make it their home game.
Okay.
You follow? But yeah, they do have. They got lights there, right? Tottenville High School, they should have lights.
I would think so, but
yeah, I'm getting the heads up from Brian Lapio that they do have a. So I'm assuming that it was probably they're visiting the other team's home field, home game, and that's how they do it. But it's great. You might as well use it, right? You got the field there, you got the lights.
As long as they stop using it for football.
Well,
but I guess there's nothing to stop that.
They think they do lock the gates there, but you can get right through anyway and play games there.
Yeah.
What's really damaging the field is the cleats, the football. If they use the metal studs, and forget, they're gonna tear it up by next year. It'll be all gone.
Yeah.
But it's a city-owned field, right?
And there's nothing.
There's really nothing you could do. So, as far as the youth side goes, I think that it's a wrap. You know what? I didn't see. Wait, and let's get back to that division. Hold on a second. Divisions. I think there's a glitch in their system here. U10. St. Charles is not listed on the standings anymore. Is there a reason for that? Do you know anything about that?
Did they move up to Division 1?
They're not in Division 1. St. Charles Wildcats, right? They were in first place. Here, take a look. All right. They were listed as I think they were 5-0. And now it's just shown LA Star to C in first place there. They're not even in the standings. Right? It's just Well, anyhow, it's funny. If Rob is out there watching, make a phone call or something.
Where are you, Scooby-Doo?
It's like,
where's your team?
All right, we're going to jump right in, Frank. We've got about 18 minutes left.
Okay.
We'll go right into the big boys now.
All right.
And I tell you, yesterday, Frank, before you get in, I know you got the standings there for the MLS, but I got to tell you, Mario Balotelli, and I'm going to jump right into Italy because that's a team I support. He is a monster, and he didn't even start the game yesterday because the Italians had clinched their World Cup berth a few weeks back, about a month ago probably. So they had 2 games left to play, and they played their young players, which you should do. And the game was, I believe, tied when Mario came in. He didn't start the game. Anytime this guy comes onto the pitch, he just takes over the game, takes it over. And if you're an Italian player playing with Mario, you just feed him the ball. Give him the ball, he's gonna blow right past any defender. And that's what he did. He came in. They were actually trailing. They scored a goal. They played Armenia.
Yeah.
And they were down 2-1. Mario takes the ball gets a pass from a midfielder and turns one touch. This is how good he is. One touch from the 18-yard line. You picture this, right? From the 18, turns around, the ball's inside the net. The game is tied. He could have had 2 or 3. He missed the net by inches. So he should have had at least 3 goals. And coming in like halfway through the game. So anyhow, we'll get back. We'll start off with the MLS, the greatest soccer league in the world.
Yeah, I know. I know you really support them.
Yeah. You know what? They were actually getting better. And the Red Bull, I can't knock them, right? I was knocking them for 10 years. I think they're on top of the league right now.
Yeah, right now we
take
have.
Take it away, Frankie. Let's see what we got.
We have in the Eastern Division, the Red Bulls sit atop that division with 32 games played and 53 points, which is a point better than the Sporting Kansas City.
Sporting KC.
You know, sitting at 52 points, and you know after that there's a little bit of a drop off there. So. You know, you got to say right now those are the 2 top teams. And, you know, moving to the Western Division, you have the Portland Timbers at same amount of games played, 32, and same amount of points, 53. So, and then pretty much the same thing in that division. You have the Real Salt Lake.
Real Salt Lake.
Oh,
there you go.
I better get my eyes.
Well, that's how
there.
that's how they pronounce it.
And they're sitting at 52 points.
Okay.
We got Seattle at 51, and then everybody else is in the 40s.
So the race for number 1, which means a lot because of home field advantage, right?
Yeah.
Up until the final game, you get the home field. I think they play like a home and home playoff type thing.
Okay.
And the team with the most goals wins the series. That's how it works. So, but that race is really not over yet. With New York, right? They're only a point ahead.
No, they're only a point ahead.
And I believe there's 2 games to go. The season ends, I think, the 27th.
Okay.
The weekend of like Halloween or something like that.
Okay, so you see, that would be like a week from this weekend.
Yeah, so they have 2 games left, and it's not over yet, I guess. So.
Yeah, but, you know, it looks like a pretty tight race here. Few games this week, not much. You know, New England beat Montreal 1-0. DC United and Philadelphia tied 1-1.
And Philadelphia was like on top of the league also in the beginning of the season. They fell off a little bit.
Yeah, they did. They're sitting right now 46 points, which
they fell a little. Okay.
You know, Chicago beat Dallas 3-2. Portland beat Seattle 1-0. And the lone game tonight is Los Angeles against Montreal at 10:30 Eastern time.
And I think LA needs that game to get in. The top 10 teams make it. I think it's 5 from each conference.
5 from each, okay. So now that means LA is sitting at 48 points.
Right.
With 31 games played.
And I expect them to win that game. I expect them to make the playoffs, LA. Defending champs. They did the same thing last year. They came on late. They made the playoffs and they won the whole thing.
Yeah, ironically enough, they're both in 4th place in their respective divisions.
Okay.
So I would say actually Montreal was tied for 4th place.
All right.
So Montreal, and they only got 1 point. They're only 1 point of the Revolution. Okay. So they both kind of winning the game would definitely serve either one of them well.
All right, let's just jump right away. We got about 13 to go into some Serie A standings. As we all know, Juventus, the defending champions, undefeated still, Frank. They're 6 wins, 0 losses, and a tie.
Impressive.
But they're sitting in 3rd place right now. Let's see. Yeah, they're in 3rd. 3rd place, tied for 2nd with 19 points. AC Roma, who I picked to start the season to have a good year, and they're in 1st place right now with a perfect record, 7-0-0. But I think when they start playing some real teams, and no disrespect to them and anybody else, but they haven't played anyone like a Juventus yet. You know, they're playing Napoli this weekend, and Napoli's in 2nd. So we'll see what Roma's really made out of this coming week. And again, I think my pick is Juventus to win this division, this Scudetto, as they call it in Italy. I think Juventus is going to win it again. And they're known to be like the Yankees of soccer. they've got like 27, 28 championships. So.
Let's not talk about that.
But you can't. I have always stuck to this, where a champion is a champion until they get knocked off.
Yeah.
Until they're totally gone, they have no shot at it. And Juventus is undefeated, so I got to go with them again. And I'm a Milan fan. I really support Milan more than I like Juventus, because how could you not like? They're a team, like, even if you're a fan of any of these teams, how could you not like Juventus? They got all the top players in the world. With that man right there on the screen leading the way, Buffon.
Yeah.
They got Pirlo, the master of the midfielder, in the world. We're talking about world-class players. How could you not like Juve? But, I support Milan. I also like Juve. Inter's always going to be in the mix. Inter Milan, there's another team that plays. Fiorentina's back there at 6th place. Lazio. I mean, the top 7 teams are the class of the 20 teams in this conference here, in this standing. So, but that being said, we're going to move right along, Frank. And remember, Juventus to win this, all right, at the end of the year. Actually, it would be like in May. The season ends in May. So we're going to jump right into some World Cup qualifiers, Frank. And yesterday, boy.
A lot of action.
Oh, man. I tell you, yesterday, I'm watching, and I get home just in time. The game started at 9:30, and they had the U.S. playing Panama. They had Mexico and at Costa Rica, and they had Jamaica playing Honduras all at the same time, because they didn't want teams blowing games and stuff like that. So U.S. had already clinched, I think, the game before. Last week, I think they clinched a spot. So they're going to the World Cup. Hooray, What are they going to do when they get there? That's the question. Now, the biggest game of last night was the Mexican national team that has really disappointed their fans, I think, this whole qualifying period. I think they've won one game at home. That's not going to cut it, right? So they end up playing, they needed a do or die or help, which they end up getting ultimately last night by none other than the U.S. So, really, if I see a Mexican soccer fan out there, say thank you. Say thank you to America, because they got a last-second goal last night, the U.S., that put Mexico into a playoff game with New Zealand. They're not in yet. They still got a lot of work to do. They got to travel to New Zealand, play a game, which is what, the other side of the planet. Where is New Zealand?
All the way halfway across the world.
Exactly. So Mexico's got a lot of traveling to do. They got to go out there, play a head-to-head. It's like a 2-game. They have to play 2 games, and again, it's going to probably come down to the goals. And I really don't know much about New Zealand. I really don't know much about them. I really can't even say who's going to win. But I know Mexico, and they haven't played well. And I put all the blame on one player. There's one player that they hyped up, about a year ago?
Talking about the New York Yankees, maybe the Alex Rodriguez of
pretty much.
Mexico.
I don't know if he got paid as much as Alex did.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he did.
But this Chicharito guy, I tell you, and I got nothing against. He sits there before the start of a game. He's praying. He's praying to God, right? He's praying that he scores a goal, I guess, right? He misses every opportunity he gets, or the goalie saves it. So he goes wide with his shots. He had a breakaway, fumbles, stumbles, and falls down, whatever the case is. And then they pull him out halfway through the second half. In the biggest game of Mexico's, these kids' lives, they needed to win that game. Anyway, so I blame it all on Mr. Chicharito over there, whatever his name is. Chicharito, am I saying it right? Chicharito, whatever his. So all the pressure, but now, that's all said and done. They end up losing. They were praying, I guess, for a U.S. win, which they got last second. So now they have to go through this playoff with New Zealand. And the winner of that will go to Brazil next summer and represent their country. So, I was really looking forward to seeing Mexico just be out of it. And they haven't been out since 1990. It was the last time
Really?
they missed the World Cup.
Wow.
So it's, they've. Hey, listen, they're our rivals, so it's one less team to worry about in Brazil.
I think that was actually the first World Cup that I watched. I think it was
1990. 1990 was in Italy.
Some games.
If I'm not mistaken, 1990 was played in Italy. 94 was in the U.S.
Yeah, 94 was.
So 90 was in Italy, and the Mexicans didn't get to go eat the Italian food in Italy. They didn't get to go. So anyhow, I got some rankings. I got some FIFA World Cup rankings here, and it's no surprise. They want to keep. And Spain, speaking about teams that qualified, they qualified yesterday, their last game of qualifying. Which tells me that they struggled.
Yeah.
Italy did it with 2 games left. There's other teams that did it with games left. Maybe their group. Do I have their group here? I don't have the groups, but maybe they had a tough group. But anyhow, it doesn't matter at this point because they qualified. So now everything gets put into a basket. Well, once all the teams qualify, which are 32, they put them all in a basket, and then they start picking, and they make their groups that way. So getting back to the rankings, Spain, number 1. In my opinion, I don't think they're the number 1 team in the world. I think they've fallen off a little bit, and I guess the world will see it next summer. Argentina, number 2. I haven't heard, the scary part about Argentina, I really haven't heard much about them. Because I watch a lot of soccer, I'm watching all these, and I think they've done this quietly, so they're sneaking up here. Argentina.
Well, weren't they the finalists last time? Argentina and Spain?
No.
For the World Cup?
No. Spain beat Germany, I like to say. That's a good question. I could look it up. But no, it wasn't Argentina.
No, that was the Euro Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, but
the World Cup.
Spain? I don't think so. But anyhow, they have one of the best players in the world, which is Mr. Messi there. But again, one player is not going to cut a soccer team for you. So, but you know what? I guess they're okay with being number 2 in the world. Germany's always going to be consistent, sitting at number 3. Italy's at number 4. They came up because they were embarrassed 3 years ago in the World Cup. They were like dismantled. So this team has made a lot of progress in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Colombia is really a surprise. Being number 5, Colombia, I mean, that's... then they got Belgium at number 6, Uruguay is number 7, and another surprise. I would flip-flop Colombia and Brazil. I would put Brazil. They got Brazil at number 8.
Wow.
And they're hosting next summer.
Wow.
And Colombia's ahead of Brazil? Come on. I guarantee if Colombia played Brazil right now, if they played them 5 times, Brazil will probably beat them all 5. I would say all 5. I would guarantee. So... Anyhow, Portugal sitting at number 11, Greece number 12. 13 is the U.S. 13 for the U.S., I guess, is pretty good. It's it's a good place for them to be in. Again, they're going to get to the World Cup, all depending on what type of group that they're in.
Well, that's it too,
Where are they going to be? Where are they going to be after the group stage? Are they going to get out of it? Is the U.S. going to get out? Are they going to get embarrassed again? Is the U.S. soccer going to go backwards after next summer? Is it worth making the World Cup? This is these are the questions. I mean, you're going to make it there, and then what? You're going to fall on your face, or you're going to give us something? For me, you got to get to the final 8.
Well, hopefully, the U.S. will wind up in a group with Algeria, Hungary.
Well,
then maybe they can make it out. Guyana, Denmark, some of the teams that are ranked in the 20s.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Again, Frank, you want to see progress, right? We spoke about this at the start of the show.
Well, yeah. The thing is,
we've gotten to the World Cup before. It's now becoming like a consistent thing for the U.S., right? Men's team. They're making it there. They're qualifying there. And they're not doing anything when they get there. I think back in 2002, they made the final 8. That's where I like to see them get now. Get to that final 8. I would be happy with it, and I think a lot of Americans would.
And you know what? It's not even get to the final 8, though. It's like I was making light of it before, but you want to see them get to the final 8 and beat some quality teams.
Right.
Like, let's just say they wind up like I said before, with some of these teams that are ranked in the high 20s, like the Ukraine
Right.
and Algeria, and they get out of that group. Somehow they wind up with 3 or 4 of them, and they get out of that group. What does it really mean?
Yeah. It's not
Who'd
gonna
you
mean-
beat?
Yeah.
You beat.
Well, no, that's okay. You know what? That's fine in my eyes because once you get out of that group, you can't avoid the top teams. You're not going to be able to avoid them. And if you play a top team and you end up getting past them,
Wow.
you're good. If you don't, then again, you could go back to who'd you beat and stuff like that.
Yeah, things
All right,
like that.
I got some teams here. I got that already qualified, so I guess we could shout them out real quick. Australia qualified already. They're in Brazil. Iran is going. Japan is going. Korea Republic is going. They changed that name there a little bit. Korea it used to be North Korea, I believe. Belgium is already there. Bosnia is there. England is there. Germany is there. Of course, Italy's there. The Netherlands are there. Russia's there. Spain, of course, is there. Switzerland is there. Costa Rica qualified last night. Honduras last night. USA last week. So, I mean, there's still a lot more teams that need to qualify. Hopefully, the Netherlands, New Zealand knocks off Mexico. And I gotta wrap up the show here. I'm getting the sign from Brian. So before we go, Frank, I just want to also mention that I was at the Columbus Day Parade, and I gotta tell you, the soccer fans. I mean, of course, it was like, I believe the Italian team, the support for the Italian team. I had on my Milan jersey, and I was getting booed, and it was a great experience because I've never walked on Fifth Avenue in the parade before. And I tell you, once you got onto that Fifth Avenue, Frank, it's like a sea. I've never seen so many Italians in my life. Well, again, people, I guess everybody was Italian for Columbus Day. But red, white, and green. And, all right, I'm getting the signal. Yeah, I guess we're going to kick us off. Yeah. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the Staten Island Soccer Report. Frank Tricomi, John Conteduca. See you guys next time.
My
Thank you.
team is raving too. On the field, think of you. Trainer says some love tonight. Alright. Alright.
Football crazy, and yes, I'm just football man. Make the goal now on. Give the ball for me, don't wanna miss my chance. There she goes, just look. Nice and easy goal.
Yes, I'm the best. I'm the best in all the world. I'm the strongest of them all. I'm football crazy. I'm football crazy. I'm football crazy. Sunday night, match is through. Now got more time for you. Tuesday dawn, another day. Will I make it to